quick live. Just finished a nice workout. Oh, Florida time. Florida time's what's up. I like Florida. Very humid, hot weather. I guess that's what it is, right? Hurricane season. Anyways, man, let's go ahead and talk about the aftermath of last night's fights. Sorry. Uh, I was I was disappointed, but at the same time, I was actually happy because, as I mentioned to all my friends, man, and all the cats on YouTube, that this is the new season. I wouldn't say so much because I don't know how long the Saudis will be in the game, but this is a new time for prize fighting, guys. Prize fighting. And so I like I like ¿qué onda, Tómico? Eh, Todo bien, man. Aquí hace mucho calor in Florida, man. That's my boy Atomico. Go ahead and sub to Boxeo Atomico. Mostly Spanish, but he's a really, really good brother, man. Really good neutral brother. And so yeah, let's go ahead and talk about the aftermath. But first, let me put a statement on that. This era of boxing, or the moment of prize fighting, is changing because Turkey Al Sheikh said, "This is what I want, right? Or this is what's good for boxing. And if you want a nice bag, if you want a nice bolsa, a nice payday, do what I want, right? Do what I want. Sorry." And so we saw that. We saw that this event. I was very glad. Uh, the fight that I probably liked the most was Matias versus Puello. Very, very good fight. And I like what Matias said at the end of the fight. He said it directly to Turkey because Turkey was saying, "This is the fight that's gonna happen." Pretty much not give him an option. I think it's what Dalton Smith. He said, "This is the fight we're gonna get in November." And then Matias said, "No problem. I'll give you action." That was one of the best statements of that night. Okay. Matias came forward. He showed a lot of resilience. Of course, Puello, most likely the better boxer that night, but at the same time, Matias showed up, guys. He showed up. Matias showed up with what Jose Ramirez should have done to Devin Haney. So I'm going to give Matias that credit. I had it very close. Of course, the pressure fighting. I've been saying the jueces, the judges are going to be influenced to what Turkey wants, and that's what we saw. At the same time, I have to admit, or I have to agree con what's his name, Sergio Mora, because Sergio Mora was not happy because he kind of said, "Well, that's what that Batiev or Katev did with the Morrell fight." And I was telling you, hey, Atomico, I was telling you guys many months ago to look out for Ese Katev. Remember, Atomico, I told go to that Russian channel. And by the way, before you guys forget, if you guys like Katwev, check out Sharabutin Batwev. This other guy that Katwev fought, that's the next Kovalev, in my opinion. Okay, so I didn't even make a prediction. I just been very busy this week. I've been traveling, stateside. But the Catwell fight, that was a very nice knockdown. In my opinion, if we want to go with the Matias type of result, I would say that maybe it should have been an empate. It should have been a draw at the very least between Katib and Morel. I thought Katib did enough to secure points. The round, if you want to give him 5 or 6 plus the knockdown, okay, it's fine. Pero very good fight. I'm glad Morel came to fight a bit better than in the Benavides fight. Let me read what Boxeo Tomico said. He said, yo di a 6, Puello, a Matias 6. Puello cerró mejor. Yeah, that's very true. Puello did close better. You can obviously see that Matias was very tired, man, in the second half. But at the same time, I like that. I like that heart. Pressure fighters, porque Matias is a good boxer. He didn't have to do that style. So then you got to ask yourselves, why did Matias do that? Because Matias wanted to show up for Turkey Al Sheikh. I like that. He put himself at risk. Maybe that's debatable, right, guys? You say, well, why put yourself in danger for this, rich Arab or lo que sea? And then Otómico says, y el ruso para mí ganó por la caída. That's true. See, there you go. So that knockdown, the Russian edged it. So I don't know. I gotta revise that. Maybe I could talk some other guys on what happened, porque maybe there's some politic. You saw the whole PBC gang behind Morrell. They were all happy with the verdict, but I agree with Atomico. For me, I actually saw that fight on the laptop. I saw with my dad the final fights. We saw the Matias and Puello on the big screen, but I saw the small one because I have. Oh, by the way, Atomico. I actually bought the fight with my cuenta de Turquía porque me costó $20. It cost me $20 when I signed into the zone one in my region because I saw the price states at the site. The price I got was like $60, man. I was like, what the hell? And it's the exact same stream, guys. Listen to what I'm telling you. What the rights in another country is the exact same broadcast as stateside. So you got to wonder why is the premium stateside almost three times more? I don't understand it. Anyways, so Atomico, yo compré. I bought last night's fight for $20, and it includes the Joshua. I mean the Dubois and Usyk fight for next week. Sí, Atomico, está muy buena. Mi hijo está feliz. Nice weather, pero siempre este estado siempre está lloviendo. Siempre está lloviendo, Atómico, acá en Florida. Pero me gustan las mujeres, no hay mucho tráfico. O sea, there's not a lot of gente acá, pero tienen nalgas, and I like yeah. Man, mira mi pelo, man, está crazy. Yeah, not cutting my hair, man. I'm gonna let this shit grow out. Pero I just worked out, so eso. Giselle Jimenez says hi. Saludos a Giselle. Giselle, if I'm saying that right. Anyways, let's move forward. Eh, Perdón, vamos a hablar un poco más porque aquí está Atómico. I know it's early for him in Cali time. Tal vez ya está parado, pero es domingo, ¿no? También tienes el día libre. Let's talk about muy rápido Zepeda y Shakur Stevenson. Guys, fíjense en esto. I want you guys to focus, okay? Yo siempre dije por meses, lo que necesitamos es 5 asaltos en la bolsa garantizadas. Para mí, en la pelea, yo le di a lo mínimo 4 asaltos. Le di como 3 en la primera mitad y le di uno en la segunda mitad. Pero hombres, fíjense esto, ¿ok? Hasta el Shakur dije, mira, yo no hice lo que ustedes quisieron, o no, dijo, perdón, él dijo, Shakur Stevenson said, I gave you guys what you guys wanted for a little bit. He said a little moment. I want you guys to process that. Okay, yeah, maybe Shakur didn't run the first half, but the second half he went old school Shakur, guys. Okay, so think about that for a second. So what does all this mean? Cepeda broke the Shakur code. It doesn't mean that okay, yeah, of course he lost, pero look at all the fights that Shakur did. If Shakur would have fought the same way he did in the first half, because come on, let's be honest, he was more evasive in the second half. Good game plan by Shakur. He made Cepeda tire out. Okay. Shakur in the second half, yeah, he wasn't smiling as much, but he was more worried. Even when he went to the corner, when he was on the ropes, that was a different Shakur. Anyways, guys, if you guys were happy with the fight, you got to give Cepeda credit. And I've been saying this: that Tevin Farmer takes more risks than Shakur. So don't judge that Cepeda was going to get stopped or he was going to look bad. Because the Farmer fights, it's different, guys. It's different. Look at what happened to Tevin Farmer. Is Cepeda took too much out of Farmer? Yes, Schofield did the job right. Even though Stephen Farmer was very bad in the first round, had his hands down, lo que sea. Let me read this real fast. Camarón tiburón. Shakira es muy grande, sí, mira, grandísimo. Well, tal vez, eso es lo que dijo mi papá también. Que, ay, mira que tiene tanto músculo. Y para mí, I didn't really focus much on that. The Slut Whisperer. Yo le di 4 asaltos a Camarón. Ahí está, también. No, Camarón Tiburón dijo, ya dijo que estaba grande. Boxeo no tengo. Me gusta la pelea de Shakur y Cameron. Sí nos gustó. Pero let's focus for a second. Let's focus porque we need to talk about the prize fighting en lo que pasó. Okay? We'll go to Sheeraz y Berlanga. Y fíjate que Sheeraz didn't run like he did in the Adames fight. And then what did we see? Okay? I thought Sheeraz was going to fight like he did con Adames. He didn't do that. So my prediction was off. I said that Berlanga le iba a parar a Sheeraz. Yo creo que mi amigo Atómico had it the other way around. Other guys, they thought Sheeraz was gonna win. Props to you guys for predicting that. Maybe I was lazy, pero I didn't think so much about lo que quería Turkey, what Turkey wanted. So props to Shiraz and Berlanga because in this fight, guys, last night, all the fighters, except for Shakur in the second half, but all the fighters did what Turkey wanted. Okay? We're going to see if Devin Haney is going to do the same thing with Norman Jr. come November. Maybe even Benavides y Yard. Pero yeah, Benavides and Yard get more credit porque Benavides and Yard, they're guerreros, they're warriors. So they don't got to worry about evasion and all that kind of stuff. Eh, pero guys, Cameron Cepeda, he beat Shakur in 4 rounds. Guys, it's not a shutout. They said, oh, it's going to be 12-0. Shakur is going to stop Cepeda. Cepeda so bulto. Nah, man. Nah. For those of you that wanted Shakur to win, okay, you got it. It's fine. But you got to give Cepeda props, man. Okay? Check it out, guys. And I said this before. I always like to bring up Maidana and Floyd. Okay? How did Maidana, he didn't like clean punches on Floyd, maybe a couple rounds here and there, but he won from volumen. That's how Maidana did it. That's what I wanted Jose Ramirez to do with Devin Haney. That's what we saw con Cameron Cepeda. Of course, Cameron Cepeda is more fresh. He's got a good gas tank. Eh, pero lo que tenía que hacer, what Cepeda had to do, he needs to learn how to do a double jab to the body y arriba to feint. I like Cepeda's jab arriba, no? He got him. You got in the tercer asalto or was it the second asalto? Get Cameron Cepeda shocked us all. He was able to hit Shakur and he lost balance. And that's when Shakur was all like nervous. But guys, you have to fake to the bottom y arriba, okay? Okay, maybe Cepeda's not too heavy-handed, but he has the volumen. Let me read this real fast. Boxeo Atómico dijo, he said, sí, Camarón tiene razón, pero el equipo de Camarón, y debes saber, tú y yo la sabíamos, eso no es novedad, no es novedad. ¿Qué quiere eso, compa? Camarón Tiburón, ¿qué quiere decir novedad? Camarón Tiburón dice, puras cosquillas le hacían los golpes de Camarón al Shakur. Así eso, ¿sabes qué? Mi papá dijo también lo mismo, porque mi papá estaba muy enojado, man. My dad's old school, man. Tienes que tirar más, dijo. Y le dije, pues está haciendo esto, pero yo creo que Cepeda tired out in the second half. It was miscalibration. If that's the case, that's you need to know how to balance the shots. At least the jab, because the jab is not going to take as much energy when you're throwing to the body, okay? Unfortunately, Cepeda's not heavy-handed when you hit the arms or brazos. For Shakur, he's more battle-tested than that. So I got to give Shakur credit in eso. And yeah, man, props to my jefe, my pops. He saw it, pero there's some nuances que no supo. Boxeo Tómico dijo, la segunda parte sí Camarón, la primera 5 no tanto Camarón, después 6 si le hacen cosquillas por la guardia de Shakira. Sí. So let me think. So no sé cómo hacerlo. I'm happy, guys. I'm happy because it could have been a lot worse. It could have been a lot worse. Everybody thought that Shakur was gonna do. They got okay. Pues primero 118 to 110. Well, that's it. Eso es puro escándalo. Para mí, 116, 112. 116, 112. Para mí. Okay. Eh, cuatro asaltos to crack the Shakur code. If you look at Cameron and Shakur without any previous circumstance or any context, know what I'm saying? Like you would give Cepeda a lot of credit. You'd be more of a Cepeda fan. Like what's next for Cepeda? Okay, if they do a rematch, what adjustments would they make? I would say, okay, let's do the first half again. Let's see if you're gonna trade in, right? Más al centro. Pero me gustó. I like Shakur. At least I give him credit. Pero Shakur said, I gave you guys a little bit of you want, okay? Atomico. Shakur said, I give you guys a little bit, un momento. So Shakur is admitting that he didn't really do a full-fledged fight, or he wasn't like Sheeraz and Berlanga, right? So Me gustó. And I like the pelea con Puello y Matias. I'm happy que las boricuas, they won that fight. Nuevo campeón Matias. I was happy. Esa pelea me gustó mucho porque Matias sí puso mucho. He put a lot of heart, Matias. Even though he didn't look too good in the championship rounds, and Puello was doing it, Matias put a lot of heart. Y me gustó eso lo que hizo. Guys, let's talk about Sheeraz and Berlanga now. Guys, uh, I was wrong. For me, I thought Berlanga was going to get a stoppage on Sheeraz. But guys, I gotta give Sheeraz credit because Sheeraz, he wasn't evasive like in the Adamas fight, right? What does that mean, guys? These prize fighters, they're taking into what Turkey's saying. Maybe Turkey told Sheeraz, yo, can you please be more in the center? You know, can you fight more opposed as in the Adamas fight? And Sheeraz delivered. Okay. Guys, this is a bit paradoxical. The reason why I didn't want Shiraz to win because one, I didn't like the Adames outcome. We can see that Turkey had a bias, or Riyadh had a bias, and the winner was gonna fight Canelo Alvarez. I mean, I don't want Canelo to fight Shiraz. Of course, I don't want Canelo to fight Berlanga again. No, 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 no. So what does that mean, guys? That means that leaves Eubank Jr. Guys, for a second, Eubank Jr. is more battle tested at 168. I've been saying that for more than a year. I even told Rep and on others that Eubank doesn't get a lot of credit for his what he did at 168. Even though he lost to Groves, he beat James DeGale, guys. Guys, to beat James DeGale was a better win than, or was a better fight than what Shiraz did with Adames. Let me repeat that, guys. Eubanks win over the Gale way better than the Adames and the Shiraz outcome. What else? Eubank Jr., the first guy to starch Avni Yildirim, my boy. All right, Avni Yildirim, very good fighter, um, very good spar. Lo conozco. I know Avni. I don't know. Let's not make this an Abde talk. I was going to say give him more credit, pero we're talking about Shiraz and I was going to say, and Eubank, because that's what they want right now. Riyadh season wants Canelo Alvarez in the UK. So what are we going to do? Eubank and Shiraz? Probably Shiraz is going to be it. Pero, guys, if Canelo was going to fight Shiraz, they were going to say, ¿Quién es Shiraz? Who is Shiraz? They're not going to give credit for that fight. That's why I don't want that. And Berlanga, I mean, why you want a revanche, a rematch? Let me read this real fast. Mosquito Atómico. La segunda parte sí, Camarón. La primera cinco, no tanto Camarón. Después de seis, sí, las cosquillas. I think we read that, ¿no? Ya lo leí, perdón. Atómico 6. A Zepeda le faltó tácticas como penetrar la guardia de Shakur. That's very true. So what Atómico is saying is that they need a better game plan on how to hurt Shakur when Shakur has his belly covered up, you know? That makes a lot of sense. Exactly. That's why I'm saying the double jab or feint it. Because Cepeda is good at going at the top, but when you're going to the center, you have to double or fake to go to the top. As we saw in the third round, right? Shakur got hit. He lost balance. So maybe Cepeda needs to focus more on that. But we can't say more because there's not going to be a revanche. Who knows if they'll fight again? Let me finish reading what he's saying. Tiras el volado de derecha, de arriba y abajo, y repite el mismo golpe. Yeah, so I like that because Atomico's saying that Shakur they need to do different, not Shakur, Cepeda needs different combinations to the center of the body. Exactly. You guys know me. I like everything to the body. Volados, jabs, lo que sea. You need to know how to change it up. Eh, in my opinion, for me, Cepeda needs to know how to do more power with crosses, al centro, body jabs, more power. Cepeda is better with volados, or we call shots to the body left and right, but he also needs to know how to spear to the center, how to break that, at least to make Shakur nervous. Pero again, does that really matter? Porque we're not going to get a rematch. Let me finish, continue. Boxeo Atómico says, Berlanga le dio la distancia a Zeral. Perfecto, pero los golpes largas de inglés. And I'm going to say this again, guys. I've been saying this for years. You gotta be careful with lanky fighters. And ironically, I was always talking about Andy Lee, even before Andy Lee became the trainer of Shiraz. You have to be very careful. That's why Callum Smith was a very dangerous fight for Canelo. When you're very tall and long, guys, long with long arms, that torque when you're loading up with a hook is very dangerous for anybody. We saw that. That's what happened. Berlanga got clipped with a cross. When he wanted to trade, he got clipped with the hooks to the center. That's what we saw with Andy Lee back in the day. You know, maybe to neutralize that, you need to be a tall guy too, as Julio Cesar Chavez, right? A prime Julio Cesar Chavez. By the way, Chavez Jr. doesn't get a lot of credit from the Andy Lee fight. Back then, who knows? I mean, Chavez Jr. was more focused, more disciplined, a different era. Pero guys, that was Chavez Jr.'s best fight in his legacy, his career was that win over Andy Lee. Straight smashed Andy Lee. Chavez Jr. Uh, and Andy Lee was always a good fighter. But anyways, going back to the lankiness of why they're dangerous, you have to be careful. Guys, Adam Smith, when he starts Lenin Castillo, okay, Lenin Castillo, who went the full 12 with Dimitri Bivol, guys. Lanky fighters are very dangerous. Well, in the sense, if you don't have a defense like a Canelo, porque for me, I think Canelo beats a Sheeraz or stops him the same way he performed against Callum Smith, guys. If you guys want that, okay, fine. I hear guys already saying that Shiraz is dangerous for Canelo. All right, fine. When fight comes and Canelo starts his Shiraz, don't say shit, man. Don't complain. For me, I prefer Canelo to do harder fights. I want the Bivol rematch. Probably that's what's going to happen because things are going crazy right now with the politics. We got the trilogy being postponed. Benavides now with Riyadh. Things are shifting, guys. We've seen it before. Bacoli and Parker, right? It was supposed to be Parker versus Dubois. Things were getting shifted. Goldfield drops out. Guys, things are changing right now with Riyadh. Most likely, what Canelo told Turkey is like, yo, give me that Bivol rematch. I want that Bivol rematch. Even if it's not for Undisputed, right? Even before Undisputed, Canelo wanted the rematch. So we'll see. I mean, I don't know, guys, man. Boxing's weird. The other channels are weird. If you guys want Shiraz and Eubank versus Canelo, all right, don't complain then the level of adversity that Shiraz and Eubank represent. Do you guys really want that for Canelo? In a business sense, I'll say this, Atomico. Check it out, Atomico. I'm gonna say this. He knows what I mean by this. We've been saying this for months, probably more than a year. I think Canelo's not going to have interest in Shiraz, maybe for a defense, right? For all the belts again. But guess what? When Canelo says, nah, I don't really want it, maybe I'll vacate WBC, Turkey is going to say, no, 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 wait up. I'll give you 200 million for Shiraz. I know that sounds crazy, right? Because that's what Canelo was asking for Benavides. But Shiraz is Muslim. It benefits Riyadh, right? It's Islamic propaganda, political reason. That's what the sports, Saudi Arabian sports washing is. But don't be surprised if Turkey Al Sheikhs begs Canelo like, "Yo, I'll give you 150 or 200 million. Please give me this Shiraz fight." What are you guys gonna say then? If Turkey gives Canelo 200 million for Shiraz, how much do you think he's gonna ask for? Canelo's gonna get for the Benavides fight if that happens? Sky's the limit. As I was saying, more than a year. Don't underestimate political influences. Don't underestimate the bags that the Arabs can give, man. You guys are all feel stupid now that you guys are trolling about Canelo. Oh, Canelo's asking too much. We've never seen that money for poor guys. Saudi Arabian sports washing trumps over Showtime, CBS Sports. These guys got money, man. When there are political reasons involved, sky's the limit. All right? Just so you guys know now. And again, Richard Schaefer said, let me repeat again. Richard Schaefer said Canelo's going to be the first billionaire boxer. Don't you guys see it now? These guys see things behind the scenes. They see the money, man. All right. Canelo's gonna get 150 for Crawford. Damn, it's gonna hay una tormenta que viene. Well, that's Florida, man. Florida. Let me read this real fast. Atómico says, sí, tienes razón, 200 millones. Canelo sabe negociar, yeah. Atomico knows. There's a very few that we understand the bags and the politics of the boxing. It's Canelo Alvarez, guys. Come on. He's the biggest earner in the sport for a long time, more than Joshua, more than Fury, right? So logic tells you guys, if you're a manager of Canelo, if you're Canelo's legal and you see what bags Fury's getting or Joshua, of course you're gonna ask for two times that, guys. It's excuse me for saying it's fucking common sense, man. If Tyson Fury is getting 120 or 100 million for Usyk, guys, Fury and Usyk, they don't make pay-per-view like Canelo's legacy. So what do you think Canelo's team or the PBC? The PBC were protecting Canelo's interests. The PBC told Canelo, yo, say 200 million. I've been saying this shit for months, guys. Unfortunately, there's no loyalty in the game. Don't knock on Canelo. Shout out to Benavides, man. Atomico knows. I've been saying this shit on other channels. That's why I get respect on the streets. Rap, all those guys knows. I've been saying, go what's best for you, for your family, man. You don't got to give 10% to the PBC. And where's Benavides now? Atomico knows, man. También el profe, they know. Do what's good for you. If you're gonna die for the ring, well, shit, get 100% for you. Why do you give 10% to somebody else? So that's what I'm saying, guys. Right now, this prize fighting is changing. I love it. As I say to everybody, steal that Saudi money, man. Steal it. ¿Por qué no? ¿Por qué no? I mean, for me, I'm American continent by heart, no? Así soy. If the Arabs are throwing money like stupid, pues take it, man. ¿Por qué no? That's why I say Tank Davis. ¿Sabes qué, Atómico? Te voy a decir esto, Atómico. Check it out, guys. And I've been thinking about this. It could be, Atómico, que las noticias de Tank Davis, que le pegó a la novia o lo que sea, that could be being set up so that way they don't got to do the Roach fight. So that way the PBC, el Probox, que están haciendo, ¿cómo se dice? Business moves. In order to get out of contractual reasons, you got to create some sort of how they say smoke screen. Maybe they pay Tank's girl. Oh yeah, say this, say that, so they can get out of the Roach situation. Because if you can get out of the Roach rematch, by time, for example, if the contract say if something happens and 6 months have passed, you're not obligated to fight Roach business wise. All right. Why? Maybe the PBC now want Tank, or they're advising them to go to the Saudis, guys. That's what those news are. You can pay the girl, 200, 200,000, 500,000 to say this to get out of a situation to go to the Saudis. You know what I'm saying, Atomico? I bet you any money Tank's gonna go to Riyadh. For those of you that are listening, pay attention. Behind the scenes, the dark streets of boxing, these things can happen. I already said it, Atomico. I said Benavides got to do this. What happened? Benavides family, they know rap star, but they know Profe. They hear these things. They get influenced. Benavides knows. Me and Atomico and others, we're real Benavides fans. Porque we don't believe in the divide and conquer. We don't believe in that stuff. They try to put Mexico versus Mexico. And I told Atomico and others, don't be surprised if you see David and Canelo boys, friends in the gym. Don't be surprised. Why? Because they're going to get big money, and Canelo and Benavides le van a hacer burla at the Arab stuff. Like, man, they're giving us money. ¿Por qué no? That's how it is, guys. Let me read some chats. Atómico dice, sí lo tuviste diciendo todo. Los dos, we've been saying it. También, profe, también, pero el profe está más reservado. This is the thing between us, I'm going to say seniors que sabemos lo que estamos hablando. He said, puede ser, yo pensé algo sí, pero esperar si haría. No, es porque Atómico, I don't think the Roach fight va a pasar. Y ¿sabes qué chiste? This is funny because Roach had his chance, man. Lamont Roach had his chance. Look, man, Lamont Roach and El Tank, that stuff was all played behind the scenes. That shit was all carried. Who knows? Maybe no, ¿sabes qué? ProBox doesn't really acknowledge Turkey. I know this. That Gary Jonas, he don't talk good about them. So if PBC is telling Tank to go, Gary Jonas va a enojar. Gary Jonas will get offensive to that, and Gary Jonas might take that stuff to legal. Well, anyways, let me read more. Atómico say, porque mire una foto con el Turkish y Tank Davis juntos. No, no lo vi, man. Really? Mándamelo, por favor. Si lo tienes, man. Wow. Yo no supe eso. ¿Ya ves, Atómico? Anyways, let's go back. Let's go back. Porque ahora, los que dijeron que el Shakur le iban a hacer algo fácil al Zepeda, now saben. que en el matchmaking, styles make fights, todo eso, the influence. El Turkey dijo, yo no quiero el pinche Tom and Jerry, ¿no? Él dijo eso. Y el Shakur acknowledged that, pero lo hizo por la primer mitad. El Shakur es inteligente. He didn't want to get too tired out, you know? Cuando está en las cuerdas, he's doing the defense, está relajando, he's taking a break, man. And as Atomico saying, that's when Cepeda needs to learn. Well, I can't say needs to, porque ya, who's gonna fight like that en el futuro? Nadie va a pelear así como un Shakur in the future. Shakur's unique. Ojalá, maybe they can get a rematch. If we do enough noise, or tal vez if Cepeda becomes the champion against somebody else, maybe Shakur can revisit it. Ask yourselves, does Shakur want to fight Cepeda again? Would he be down for that? Only if the belt's on the line. Otherwise, Shakur has no interest. Shakur will say, I already beat Cepeda. I did what you guys wanted. But that's not true because Shakur only did for the first half. And Cepeda, I gave Cepeda 3 rounds in the first half. I gave him 1 round in the second half. Okay? Shakur said, let me remind you guys, Shakur dijo, yo hice lo que tú, what I gave you guys what you wanted, but for a moment, guys. He said a moment. He said that. Why not do it the full 12 rounds? Okay? For those of you that don't box or not practitioners, sorry, you gotta respect the guys that come forward, man. All right? That's the lion heart. Let me read this thing. Atómico, te lo mando, fue antes al arresto, lo arrestan. Ok, bueno, no hay prisa con eso. Send it to me cuando puedas o lo que sea, and we'll do it. Pero anyways, Atómico, I'm happy. Me gustó la noche. El del ruso y el Morrell, como dije, Atómico, I was telling my boy Atómico that watch out for Batwev. I said this many months ago. El trainer, el jefe, el manager, el papá de Kambosos, the father of Kambosos managing him, because of that fight with Sharabutin Katwev, another badass Russian, very tall guy, he's the next Kovalev. Check out Sharabutin Katwev. He's another badass Russian. He lost to Katwev, but he's the next one up. That guy needs to go to Riyadh. I don't think he's gonna do it. He's like 23 or 24. He's Kovan. He's young. Trust me, guys. Check him out. Sharabutin Katwev. He fought Batwev. Anyways, I'm gonna cut out here porque I can see a tormenta's coming, man. I don't want to get struck by lightning. Ya me voy. Atómico, saludos. Si haces un vivo, por favor, me invitas. I know the time, el horario es muy diferente ahorita porque when you guys doing your live stream, ya me estoy durmiendo, el jet lag, lo que sea, pero estoy feliz. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Okay, shout out to todos mis followers. Al Cuerpo Boxing. That's how it was last night, ¿no? Al Cuerpo style, man. Pegando. Shout out to Cepeda. Nos vemos en la otra. See you guys, man. Bye. Peace.